Hey everybody, Waffle Hands here. Today we are making St. Louis cut spare ribs using the popular 3-2-1 competition style for smoking ribs. You can make these on any type of grill that you can set up for indirect cooking, such as a Weber or even just a hole that blows smoke. We're aiming for around 235 today. Now everyone has their own method to smoking ribs, from foil wrapping to higher temperatures. It all comes down to what you like, so experiment. And always remember, if you don't like my way,
I don't care! I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care! I don't care!
Now, let's get to our St. Louis cut ribs. You can also apply these same techniques to baby back ribs. I just happen to like St. Louis cut, and I was a fan of Nelly in high school. First thing we have to do is remove this thin little membrane on the back of the rib. We want our rub and smoke to get all up in this big old sexy meat, so just take your knife and a paper towel and yank it off. Now that the membrane is off, we're going to apply a coat of all-purpose seasoning. It's pretty much salt, pepper, garlic, and a few other spices. You can pick it up anywhere. Once you've got that on there, it's time to apply a binder. Now, a binder is pretty much something that allows your barbecue rub to stick. Today we're using honey mustard, but you can also use yellow mustard, olive oil, and even something like A1 sauce. You won't taste any of it unless you go crazy, which you shouldn't. I'm using honey mustard because I stole it from work. Now it's time to apply our barbecue rub. I'm using Killer Hogs Everything today. You can make your own rub if you want, but honestly, just buy one at the store or Amazon. The competition guys do the same thing. With applying barbecue rubs, avoid the temptation to actually rub it in. It's unnecessary. What you really want to do is sprinkle it on and pat it like you're cleaning alpaca.
Hey, don't rub on that. You block that. You understand? That's alpaca. You block that shit.
Rubs work by recycling moisture from the meat. As heat from the grill opens the fibers of the meat, moisture escapes. The rub absorbs the moisture and then begins to melt into the openings, bringing back all that juiciness and flavor into our barbecue. And if none of that sounds scientifically accurate,
I don't care!
Don't worry, it may seem like a lot, but these ribs can take it, and it forms a delicious bark on the outside. Make sure you hit the front and back end and the sides. We want to coat this rib like we're a goddamn Jackson. Once we have the rib seasoned, let it sit for about 30 minutes at room temperature. As you can see, the rub is turned into a scissor-like substance, so that means it's time to get these bad boys on the smoker. As mentioned earlier, we're using the 3-2-1 method. That means 3 hours on the smoker, then 2 hours wrapped in foil on the smoker, and finally 1 hour out of the wrap, and at that point we'll start applying our barbecue sauce. So pop it on there, meat side up, and set your timer. We're also going to be applying a mixture of apple juice, pineapple juice, olive oil, and apple cider vinegar to our ribs every 30 to 45 minutes during the first 3 hours to keep them moist. Other than that, leave the grill alone. There's an old saying that if you're looking, you're not cooking.
Stop!
I'd suggest getting one of these wireless grill thermometers so you don't have to pay as much attention to the grill, which will allow you to peep the fact that I'm using the exact same shot from earlier. This one here, the Maverick Ready Check, works amazing. It lets me set an alarm if my grill temperature starts to climb or fall out of the range that I set. It's also more accurate than the temperature gauge on your grill. The last thing you want to do is go take a shit and come back to a 500-degree grill.
Ew!
It can also keep track of meat temperatures if I plug in the additional probe, which is great for pork butts and brisket. Okay, it's been 40 minutes, so let's spray our ribs. Again, we want to keep these nice and moist while we cooked. We'll also apply a little bit more of our delicious barbecue rub. Yay, rub! While we're at it, perhaps we should apply some better detergent on our laundry because my goodness, that shirt is faded. 3 hours later, and I'm still using the same footage. We're holding steady at 239. If you remember earlier, I said we were aiming for 235, which means I fucked up and now I have to start all over again. First, what we want to do is remove this membrane. I'm kidding. Your temperature is going to naturally spike and drop as you cook, so it's okay if you get up to 250 or even drop down to 220. Now we're ready for our foil wrap. This is the fun part to me because this is where you can get creative and customize ribs and really throw some D's on that bitch. Start out with a large piece of heavy-duty foil. Don't go cheap here because the last thing you want is a rib bone poking a hole in your foil and ruining everything. First, we'll apply some parquet butter, then a little bit of brown sugar, some honey for sweetness, and my favorite for a little bit of heat, tiger sauce. Get it on there and do the same for the other side. Once you're done, wrap the foil tight, make sure there's no leaks or gaps for air or liquid to escape, and then get it back on the grill, meat side down this time. That's important. The whole purpose of this part of the process is to get the ribs nice and tender. Now, in competition, falling off the bone tender is bad, but in my backyard, tender ribs will have a nigga like. Hours have passed. We've just been letting our ribs chill in the foil like a hair salon. Now we're going to check for tenderness. If you grab a bone and twist it and it feels like you could almost completely spin it, you're in the right spot. Sometimes it takes longer than 2 hours, so don't be afraid to keep them on there for a little bit longer. Our ribs are done, so we're going to carefully remove the ribs from the foil and get it back on the smoker for the last hour. Be very careful during this part because the ribs can literally fall apart while you're moving them, and thug tears can be flammable. Apply your barbecue sauce to both sides. Depending on the barbecue sauce you're using, you want to keep your eye on the ribs during this last hour. You do not want the sugars in your sauce to start burning. This last part is supposed supposed to be an hour, but honestly, it can be as short as 30 minutes or as long as an hour and a half. Once you've done it enough times, you'll know exactly when it's ready. And that's it, folks. Apply a little more barbecue sauce if you like, cut them up and serve them. Of course, it wouldn't be a cooking video without a taste test from an unbiased source, so take it away, my fiance.
Hi. So when I eat ribs, I sit between the sink and the oven and I wear an evening dress because that's what normal people do, right? Okay, so I'm about to have this rib. It's saucy. Oh, my dog agrees. It's very tender, good flavor, sweet. It has a kick to it too. The meat was cooked tender, it's like perfect. It wasn't hard to chew. So if you're old, you can eat these ribs with your dentures or with your gums. Okay, I think I'm the only one that's gonna eat these ribs. I'm not letting anybody else eat these ribs. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Good.
I was like, I'm gonna keep talking until you tell me to stop.
I was gonna be done eating.